Get your tools. I'll meet you in the truck. Eric? Eric! I got you.
I'm looking for directions to Shockham Hills.
Ain't never heard of him.
What are you expecting to find here?
Even with a great fire, people don't just disappear. Something else happened.
What are you doing here?
We shouldn't be here.
I want him gone.
Why do you need private security for a scientific expedition?
Well, to keep us safe.
Safe from what?
Wait, hold on 1 second. Hearing something down there. What the hell is that?
What happened?
Turn it up, listen to this.
What is that?
This doesn't feel right.
Terry!
Did you hear that?
What was that thing?
How long's this been open?
We do security and protection work.
What is it you protect?
You. They took my son, and I've been fighting him ever since.
Shh. Listen. What is that?
I hear something.
This isn't good. No matter what you do, don't let him grab you.
Get me out of here!
Jamie, get down! Go, go!
I got you.
Carl and Lou here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial.com for short. We're checking a very modern horror movie here called The Devil Below, released in 2021, directed by Bradley Parker, written by Eric Schuberath and Stefan Jaworski. It stars Alicia Sands, Aidan Canto, Will Patton, and a few more that we will get into as we go along. This movie is one of the most frustrating things I've watched in some time. One where it promises so much, delivers so little, and dare I say rips off far superior movies while trying to pretend like it's not.
Yeah, it was.
It's let me sell you it the way it did us. This is how it was sold to us via descriptions, and we didn't go into depth and looked on online reviews. We went on basic descriptions, a cover, and so on. Basically, a town which is called Shockham Hills, in the remote Appalachian Mountains. The coal fire underneath in its mines started, and effectively the town became abandoned. Now, of course, this is based upon a real life event, a real life place, but also we all know that place is the inspiration for one Silent Hill, which alone makes you go, ooh.
Interesting, yeah.
So these 4 amateur adventurers were going to go to this town to try and find out what had actually happened. E.g., was it a purpose? What happens? And then there were going to be monsters there. And I conjured up image of this mist-driven town. Well, not mist, but you know what I mean? Like the smoke
Covered
from the
coal
fire, dirt everywhere, abandoned, all this tension, things in the darkness, stuff like that. And then they're hunted by monsters and that aspect. That's what it promised. It doesn't even get close to delivering that. We don't even see this fucking town.
No.
Once from a distance, that's it.
Yeah, oh god, it was so frustrating.
It promises something and it doesn't deliver it in the fucking slightest. And it doesn't start off badly, as we kind of first thing we see is the mine, where you kind of see the mine is ending for the day, and there's a lot of like dirt and stuff like that coming out. This is where we see Will Patton, who's the biggest star in this.
Yeah.
He's the owner of it, Sutton. He's the owner of this mine that we actually find out later on in the movie, not at the start. Him and his son leave out, and his son is just grabbed in a sort of off-kilter background shot where it's kind of like the son's out of focus, and you just sort of see something snatch him.
Grab him away, yeah.
Yeah, Will Patton's character, he tries to help his son gets dragged into the mist, and Will Patton kind of gets scarred across the face, and as he falls into unconsciousness, his eyes kind of go black. I thought at the time it was just a bad camera effect, but actually that's important because these monsters have a spiky thing which can paralyze you, and I guess it turns your eyes black as well. Cut to sometime later when we meet Ariane, Alicia Sands, and she's preparing to go somewhere, and this is all plot filler stuff. As we see, she starts putting pins up, and she's trying to map to this specific place and all that.
Isn't that info with her? Was that easy to have it on like something like a handheld device?
Mm.
It just seems like it's for for our benefit, but it doesn't give us enough. Like, she's clearly done all this kind of work on every single person that's going with her, just a basic overview. But today's day, you wouldn't have that on like a. You could see her having it on a laptop or something, and then taking a laptop with her.
Maybe.
It's a bit like, oh, okay. It's a bit of an old school montage of you pinning stuff up at every person you're going on a trip with.
True.
Bother.
Yeah. I suppose considering it's not going to be there anyway, because it is the credit for the part. And she's meeting up with Darren, who's basically the expedition leader. That's Adam Kanto, Jamie, played by Zach Avery, Sean, Chinza Uchi, and Terry, Jonathan Sadowski. These are the 4. I think that's the 4, isn't it?
Yeah. No one else in there, is there?
Not that I can remember, anyway.
No.
And they're basically driving to this supposed remote hidden town that doesn't appear on maps anymore. Yeah. It's supposed to be really, really... And it was initially when I'm excited for them to get there. Yeah. It's promising a lot. It's no longer on maps. You're not allowed to go there. They arrive at a nearby local town, inquire about it. And of course, they get the whole, that town don't exist around here. Yeah. Why don't you just leave and go back to the freeway and all that? They're then chased out of town. She then notices, because basically she turns out to be a tracker and so on, that kind of thing. That's why she's there. She's helping them get there. She's not part of the expedition. No. They end up realising that the person that chased them out stopped at the point where they should be going. So they end up going that way. They find the gates electrified. Yeah. Basically, they're not welcome. Yeah. That much is clear. So they end up leaving the car and then hiking. And this is all the first 20 to 30 minutes of the movie. Yeah. And quickly you start to feel that this is slow.
Did we need that?
Do we need all of this?
Because you don't learn anything on the trip during this sequence of why they're there. No. You get brief conversations of like...
characters. Here's the sarcastic one.
Here's the sarcastic one talking about their women's driving.
Yep. She's spunky and badass.
Yeah. This other guy, this English guy, who I don't know if he's English or not, because his accent, I don't know if he was or not. It kind of varied a little bit for me. But like, he's like the main head leader, and he tells other goons almost, shut up and just let her drive. Yep. Yeah, nothing's kind of told in that opening sequence to make it worthwhile having that long drawn out getting there.
Yeah, and what it could have done was use that opportunity to spill all the exposition that we're about to get. In the moment that we just threw up our hands and went, oh, all right, this is going off the deep end. We get a campsite sequence where, and this is mind-boggling, where one of the scientists, because at this stage as well, we don't even know why they're here. Yeah. I said to you, I paused the movie at this time and I went, why are we here? They're saying an expedition. What is the goal of this? Yeah. What science can you possibly expect to find? Tell us. We'll eventually fucking get it, but first we have a character turn around and basically go, so why are we actually here? Oh no, what actually happened? And then we get this this exposition dump, and it is just the most incredible. You brought this guy all this way, and he doesn't even know why he's here.
But it's annoying because the opening credits had like going through like newspaper clippings of fire in a town, abandoned town. Yep. And then it kind of goes over it again because Dipsticky doesn't know why he's gone all this way. It's clearly somewhere where you're not welcome. Breaking into somewhere abandoned. And we're not even given an introduction of like why he would take risks like that, because you might get shot. This is America. You might get shot for
later. We find out that he's the hired gun, the protector. But like, oh my god! So you hired this guy, and he didn't actually know a single thing, and he was happy enough to do it. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's so fucking stupid, and it's an exposition dump for us. Yeah. And this is how they wrote it.
So obvious.
Unbelievable. Then we also have a scene between basically one of the other scientists who certainly might not have a scientific mind, as he starts to suggest that maybe what these miners uncovered was a portal to hell. Yeah. A second well to hell. They actually reference the well to hell. Now, I'm not expert on the well to hell. However, I know some details about it, and I got very annoyed at this sequence as he retells the well to hell. Obviously, the Russian Siberian. Supposedly, the story is they dug too deep, and then they lowered a fucking audio recorder down there and recorded what is supposed to be the sounds of the damned. You can hear that recording right now. You can go to the Wikipedia page for it, and that recording is there. This is a hoax. This well to hell is a well-renowned hoax. Also, it's 9 miles. So when him saying 8 miles, I was like, he didn't even get it fucking right on that front. But it's a hoax. This film chooses to act like it's a real thing. Now, I have no problem with them reference to well to hell. Yeah. provided he does say, well, it's a hoax. But they don't. They act like it's a real thing. He even plays the damn recording on his phone. And I was like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Come on. However, it did give me a little bit of brief hope. It was like, you know what? We always want hell shit. We love our demonic stuff. Maybe we might go down that path. Tell you now, it's not.
No.
The film already set up that it wasn't going to be. By having monsters killing at the start.
Yeah.
In between us as well, we see another guy get his face cut into when he leans too close to hearing a noise and something jabs him in the face. You're seeing these monster flashes and it's like, well, then it's not what you think. That, oh no, but maybe hell got open and these monsters are coming out. Why have they waited 30 odd years?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not even like it's like recent, it's from the 70s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and the whole reason is, whole thing, so we're going to fly through I'm not talking plot by plot. The local town they originally visited is keeping these creatures at bay. They blocked all the entrances, stop anyone going near it so they don't open up sinkholes, booby traps and all that. They're effectively defending the town from these monsters that live under the ground that were presumably, because the film never says, presumably unleashed when the miners dug too deep.
Yeah.
The film never ever tells us that.
No.
Never tells us that, which again is another infuriating aspect. Our group eventually get to the mine entrance. They're really happy about this. Here we actually get what should have been a really good, like, okay, this is what they're doing, as it basically turns out they're here to analyze the ground, the rocks, to see if the material itself is particularly flammable, and maybe that's what caused the original disaster.
Yeah.
Now, bear in mind, like I said, we have not seen a town. We end up at a small outlying group of cabins that look like they are from the 1800s.
Yeah.
Like what do they call it thing where people dress up and mess around and reenactment?
Yeah,
like a reenactment village.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What? There's no haze in the air. You get these occasional areas where there's like dry ice or plumes of smoke blowing out of a grate or something.
Yeah.
It's like this is the best you could fucking do.
And it'd be well known that a mining town would have a lot more close packed out.
We see it. They have a bit where they stand at the top and they look through trees and you can see like normal houses, but we never go to the part. But you know what's even more annoying about that? It's clear. We see it clearly.
Yeah.
Where's that haze? Where's that feeling of, look, that's the effect of the coal fire underneath the ground. Unbelievable.
Well, like mentioned to you have to go like, I don't know, you have to have like air testing equipment when you go close to it, and I think it's just.
Well, let's bring that up next. They have air testing equipment when they go underground.
Yeah.
But they never brought gas masks. They never brought respirators. They never brought things that would help. They go briefly into a cave and they're like, oh, the air's bad, we better get out of here and stuff like that. Well, that's what they end up doing. They find a hole which is right near the mines. And again, the film just annoys you because it's a cave. This isn't a mine. No. You see this clearly. It's a fucking cave. It's a well-shot cave. It's a cool-looking cave. But it's like, that ain't a mine. No. That ain't a mine. It's a cave. Stop lying.
Yeah.
One person ends up getting dragged into it by his foot. He falls, he's hurt, and then we see him pulled off. The rest all panic. They're then attacked by one of the local townspeople who turns up with a shotgun. He wants to seal it back up. You know, it's that whole thing where he's like, what did you do? What's going on? Everyone's screaming at each other, what's going on? And he won't say. And they end up knocking him out and then driving off and leaving him on his own. Unsurprisingly, he ends up dead. Lovely, lovely people.
That's the thing. You're supposed to like care about. You don't get introduced to people long enough to care, or like their intentions are not clear enough from the start. So you have to watch it through suspicion. Like sometimes you don't want to watch a film and be constantly guessing about everyone's motives and what they're doing. You know,
No.
Give us two clear groups, and then let us kind of like see what the threat is for both of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just frustrating to watch.
The problem is as well, it keeps jumping back between people we don't know and people we barely know.
Yeah.
So the people we don't know are the local townspeople who are all out there looking for a group of people that we're supposed to know. But we don't have characters here. We don't have characters. Nothing. Remembering names is near enough impossible. You don't know a lot of the time what their motivations are. I didn't understand why she was like, she kept saying at the start, the main star, Alicia Sands, Ariani, she's like, oh yeah, my job is to take you there. Well, you took them there, you still waited.
Yeah.
You waited and you hung around.
If you're getting paid enough, you'd be like, right, there you go, guys.
But do you know what the answer is? You simply say, yeah, my job is to get you there and get you back.
They should have had the like the people that are protecting the town. You could have had a voiceover of that Ariane talking about going there over a montage of these guys setting up these traps to make the town impenetrable.
Oh, cool, yeah.
And so saying, oh, we'll go off to this mission, or I'll take you there. How much are you going to pay me? What are you doing there? I don't want to know too much, but I'll take you there, and then you can see them like putting up these booby traps and stuff like that, and then at least you're getting both sets of characters, and maybe then just stuck with one until the other guys turn up. See it from their perspective of these arseholes turning up.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So the surviving lot are driving off. They end up getting a car stuck in a sinkhole and abandon it, where they then end up in the woods, and it's got night. And we get the worst part of the film. Is for some reason we now switch to found footage. Night vision found footage where, and I'm telling you, it's about 1 to 2 minutes long, and they get attacked and you can't see anything. You literally couldn't see anything. The only way we knew that someone had died there afterwards was when the group were back together. We were like, oh, Thingy's missing.
Yeah, Dave's missing.
Yeah, Dave was missing. And I was like, oh, was that the person that got killed in the... Oh, right, because you literally see nothing.
It was really poor quality. And you think 2021, like, it was clearly was set in modern times.
Yep. It's a really bad camera. It's a really bad camera. They end up getting saved by the townspeople and brought to like their base of operations, which coincidentally just happens to be the same area they were in before. Happy that. We get lots of filler exposition, characters being introduced and saying like, yeah, there's monsters down there and we protect the town and all stuff like that. They then get attacked by monsters, and the few survivors end up crawling into caves and stuff like that. It's here we get one of 3 characters being like, I'm going to be a hero and save the rest for reasons. Oh man, that whole I'm going to be a hero for no reason. Like the first one's an old guy. He's like, oh yeah, I'm too old to run, so I'm going to go out there with this Molotov and kill them all and die in the process. And it's like, we don't even know you.
Yeah.
Who are you? Why should I give a shit?
Yeah.
Why are you giving your life for these strangers?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
The people there are people that you know from the town, maybe, but these people, no.
No, absolutely. And we get more, you get flashes of the monsters. Effectively, they're humanoid-style figures, kind of elongated limbs. One of their arms is sharp-pointed, which is the poisonous thing, and their faces seem to be made up of like circular teeth, effectively.
Yeah.
I appreciate the film keeping them hidden.
Yeah.
The problem is, by the end of the film, you realise why they're keeping them hidden. Because it keeps them hidden throughout almost all of it. And it's because when you get a decent flash of it, it doesn't look amazing. No. They're not imaginative monsters at all. They also don't seem that threatening.
No.
They don't seem that threatening.
No.
They're not. It's not that they're faster or anything like that. And it's like, oh, what, they've got a blade in their hand. It's like, well, that's just like fighting a human with a knife. Can't help but think, like, with enough guns, you could probably have taken this lot down.
And then that nice product Swiss Army knife for these monsters. They use it for everything now. It's like a multi-function tool for them.
Yeah. So then we end up in the caves, and there's lots of chasing sequence in the caves, as well as heroics involving a grenade explosion that looks absolutely terrible. Until eventually we're just down to Darren and Ariana, and they get away from some of the monsters, and Darren decides he can't go on any further. Ariana's like, sweet, I'll go and get some help.
Yeah.
They both end up getting captured and brought to the pit, the lair of these creatures, where through... And it's basically what it's done is they're both paralysed, so their vision is all faulty and all that, and you kind of see what is, I guess, the queen, which is some sort of big slug-like looking creature, but it's all done with this haze, blurry haze, so you can't see it clearly at all. And we see it kind of like has got a sucker and it eats one of them, and you can already see what's going, because handily when the monsters brought them down, it also made sure to bring a spare grenade for them as well.
Oh, nice.
And here's the thing, it's so fucking stupid, because that grenade wasn't like strapped to their belt. There was an actual scene where Ariana gives the grenade and a belt to Darren, who says he can't go on. We did also point out this is where Darren reveals his actual motivations, and that he was hired by a rival mining firm to see basically if they could take over this. And I just slapped my head in utter stupidity. Stupid for 2 reasons. This is a coal fire. There's nothing you can do about it. What the fuck do you mean? You're not...
So 30 years worth of burning, there's going to be anything...
Absurd. It's absurd. It's
not
utterly
like
dumb.
it's a closed down mine. You can go, oh yeah, sweet.
Yeah, we want to get in there.
We can move our people in, you know, you can kind of restart it again. It's a coal fire.
Yep.
And it's like well known from history that it's happened before where, let's say, mining town, once the mine's gone, that's the town dead.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. That's exactly what that town lived and died on, effectively. But the worst part is it creates this massive plot hole, which is the start part of the movie, where he implied that they were there to go and get readings about and see if they can potentially in future prevent other fires. It creates a plot hole, you know, the whole plot about him going there to prevent fires and analyse the material and stuff like that. That is something that he and his partner were very, very happy about when they discovered it. He even says that his partner never knew what the real reason was being there. So why did he celebrate so happily with his partner at the time? What?
Just
Doesn't make any fucking sense.
Convoluted plot.
So Ariana, she obviously, as soon as you saw the grenade, you know what's going to happen. She's grabbed by the monsters to be sucked up by their queen, and instead she puts the grenade up there.
Yep.
And you're waiting for a whole boom, it explodes. No, it just goes, it's like a bad burp. And then you sort of see it fall over. Again, for all that hazy vision, so you can't really see anything as well. Now, she's no longer paralyzed, neither is Darren. They're able to get up and run back to the rope on the way out. On the climb up, they're getting chased by the monsters, and Darren decides to give up his life now to save her, cutting the rope and so on.
Why?
Yeah, why?
I'd be fighting for my life.
It doesn't make any sense.
Is
Like,
it,
keep climbing.
Is it guilt that he kind of brought into the situation? But she's paid for this.
The characters are not defined enough to make those jumps.
Yeah.
It asks so many times for you to fill in blanks that it should have done itself. You're like, oh, you should decide this part. It's like, no, because I'm supposed to give a... We said at a certain point, 3/4 through it, we couldn't care less who lives or dies.
Yeah.
It didn't make any fucking difference. In between this, we get a scene of where like the townspeople are gearing up for a battle. Conveniently, the monsters have all convoluted in one location.
That's really handy.
Which is really fucking handy. Lots of shooting and stuff. Don't see anything. Cut away and see it shooting. She ends up getting out. She's rescued by Will Patton at that point. He then drives her home and he's like, look, you've got a choice. It's weird. He says she got two choices, which is you can stay and help us, defend and stop these creatures escaping, or you can go back and tell the truth. And I was like, well, there's a third choice. She could just go back.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm going to go. And he's all disappointed and stuff. She goes and it looks like she's gone, but no, she's gone and got the rope, removed the rope, and then she comes back and she's like, yeah, let's take care of these creatures. And I was just like...
No, it's pretty bad paying jobs.
All right, sure, why not? I mean, we are glossing over so much, including the fact that she's got a dead father syndrome going on, which is a plot point that barely fucking registers and matters. And that's how the film ends, and all you'll feel is this incredible glut of disappointment.
Yeah.
Just like, really?
I mean, thinking about the monsters, I was thinking of like films like Tremors.
Yeah.
Where it did, like, there's not many people living out there. You care about the characters. There's a threat. That's a defined threat. You know how to deal with that. They learn how to deal with it, and you're involved and you're invested in a very simple plot made better by these tremors and the way that people move. It was just there's no definite reason for being there. There's no. You gave us an abandoned town, but you didn't give us anything about that town.
Yep.
You didn't give us a mine. You gave us a cave. Everyone knows what a mine looks like.
Yes.
Like,
just go watch My Bloody Valentine,
Yeah.
as you said, you're in it. Like, the difference is night and day.
Even though like, the lights all being smashed out, but you still have the beams to make a structure. People just don't go into caves. Like, if this is proper mining, commercial mine, it'd be set up for that.
Thing is, it could work fine if miners had uncovered the caves. The problem is the very first thing at the very entrance to the mine is that hole that leads directly into a cave. That doesn't work. No. That's not a mine anymore. That's just a cave. And it really doesn't work. You've already said so much there in what you were just summing up. We have a very basic plot line, a very basic one, that when I said rips off stuff, I'm talking about things like The Descent. That at times, particularly when we're told the creatures hunt by noise. And it's like, that doesn't really work either. Because, you know, I mean, you never see a period where... You never get that period where creatures, when they're in the caves and they're hiding and trying to hold their breath and the creatures are sneaking by. That never comes into it. It's just a thing that's said that just doesn't add anything to the overall fucking story. But these sort of films are pointless when you've got characters in peril that you couldn't care less about. You see like these townspeople and characters there and introduce another woman and all that, and she's in like 4 scenes. And then she's dead later on, and you're like, alright.
It's weird because people like the idea of that happening in real life, like a coal mine burning.
Yep.
And abandoned towns and like... That people that go mad for films of like Chernobyl and like abandoned places and what they look like. There's a fascination with that. Like towns just left like in Japan.
It's haunting.
It's just haunted because everything's left like it is, you know. And I mean, especially at the moment, people like there's things like still frozen from Christmas where everything's locked down and stuff. There's little elements of that at the moment. People just don't like it because it's not the norm. So when they just stayed in the town, had a town that's trying to rebuild it, like trying to repair itself, with the threat of monsters coming out this hole. Oh, it was just bizarre.
I feel like you could have done almost everything else the film was doing but just had it, they put it in the town, and we've seen, and it been hunting through buildings and desperation to survive that way and stuff like that. That could have worked. You suggested at the time watching it that you were like, oh, are these creatures just like mutated from the missing miners and stuff like that?
Yeah, because I swear I saw one in a boiler suit.
Well, I didn't see that.
Boiling...
But the thing is, I don't accept it. And I simply don't accept it because the film did nothing to add to that. It didn't suggest it. It didn't say it. It didn't show it. It didn't do it. Yeah. That, if it was the case, this film would have pointed it out. Yeah. It would have pointed it out. Yeah. It didn't. And the reason why it didn't is because that would have made the story even more convoluted. Because the next question that comes after that is, how?
Yeah. How did that work? You could have had the actual mine being something that could be harmful when it burned. And that's like how... Again, like Chernobyl, like a nuclear thing where they kind of start mutating, and that's why it's more of a threat, and that's why the place is dead, because people just don't survive all the mutations. Oh, missed opportunities. Yeah, the worst thing I think as well is to point out is we never even get an explanation of why the coal mine is on fire. We never see it. You get sometimes like a flickering glow of light and stuff like that, but even in the caves, the air is clear. Yeah. They talk as if there's dangerous air and all that kind of thing. You don't see it. No. You don't see it at all. Everything about this film feels like a missed opportunity. A missed opportunity to tell a better story. A missed opportunity to give characters development. A missed opportunity to do something here. A missed opportunity to tell a new monster story. Or at least an interesting monster story. And instead went for the laziest, or, I don't know, financially less intrusive version possible. But here's the thing. The film is shot really well. It is shot really, really well, particularly the early portions of the movie and how they shoot the caves and stuff like that. It makes use of lighting really, really nicely, where it feels like it's natural light bouncing off walls and things like that. The parts where they're trekking through the woods, lovely locations, looks great. The mine itself, the distance shots, using drones and stuff like that, all really, really nice. And like the daytime stuff, it's got that kind of like muted tone to it. So it never feels like it's a cheerful, happy film. It always got that kind of like muted, sort of melancholy feel to it, which I thought was good. Yeah. But yeah, it was frustrating because when you see a description of something that you always find fascinating, like places being abandoned, and to get this, so many different stories trying to put onto one film.
Oh, I agreed, 100%. And I also want to add to the part about filming, but then I feel like I find it hard to praise that aspect fully because my mind automatically think was, well, some idiot went, this part found footage. Night vision, terrible night vision, and you won't see anything. And it's like, oh my god, why did you do that? Whose idea was that? Yeah. And why did you do it?
You could have had torches.
You could have just done it in the darkness of the woods.
Someone's just been disappeared, and you would have had a clearer vision. If you got some big like proper torches filming that, you would have better lighting than night vision.
What makes it even worse is at the point where you already had characters die. So it's like, why are you hiding that? Why are you hiding? And he doesn't even die anyway. He's one of the ones that are killed later on in the fucking caves part as well. I really don't like this film. I think it's incredibly disappointing and lacks in almost every area and every important area for a film, let alone a good horror movie. On that aspect, let's wrap up with this. This is not scary. No. It does not build tension. It has no decent scares, no jump scares, even that aspect. There's no threat from the monsters. They never feel particularly scary. No one ever really feels that in peril. Yeah, this is just not a good film. No, definitely not. But if you've seen it and you want to let us know something different, drop it in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?